All right, folks. Welcome back to Stream Catchers. We are back talking about Marvel's What If. First, I am one half of your hosts, AB, along with.
Hello. I'm Jack. What's going on?
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Feeling good, feeling great. We are 2 episodes deep now into Marvel's What If. This one was a lot more different than last week's episode. Captain Carter was a very straightforward, changing
hmm
just a few scenes and then obviously changing the final battle quite a bit. But for the most part, very similarly paced like Captain Avenger or Captain America: The First Avenger. This was
Yeah,
like a brand new, whole different experience. What did you think about the episode?
I loved it. I really loved it, and I loved it in a different way than I loved the first one because I had a hard time at first saying that I liked the second one better. Because the first one, I mean, Captain Carter, I mean, that was a great episode. But I feel like I did favor this one just because we're more caught up in the MCU timeline. We're into it, so we can make some bigger and better changes to the established lore that we're familiar with. Whereas with Captain Carter, we were just kind of adjusting events inside one MCU movie. But yeah, I love the episode. I thought it was really creative. I loved all of the character changes, the Ravager kind of shift
Yeah.
in their in their character. The Thanos stuff was great. The Collector stuff was great. Yeah, I had no complaints. It was super good.
I agree. Yeah, I don't know if I like one more than the other. They're both obviously very different. This one was just much more imaginative, like we both kind of just touched
hmm
on. Whereas, yeah, Captain Carter, where you're changing just some scenes here and there. This one, I mean, it's incredible how grabbing the wrong kid sets so many different threads and
hmm
changes just everything about the universe. And of course, if you're listening to this, we assume you've seen the episode. So if you haven't, spoilers. But it's Saturday, so by now you probably have had a chance to check it out. I mean, they
Yeah.
change a lot. So what's the guy's name? Korath, the Pursuer, played by Hansu. Jaimin Heinsu. He is a good guy now. He's kind of a fanboy of T'Challa.
hmm
Thanos is a good guy. Collector is more of a villain here, obviously the main villain. The Black Order is now aligned with him, and so you think Thanos being a good guy, how many threads that changes? And then I also have a theory we'll talk about a little bit later on with Gamora. Um,
Awesome.
but let's just kind of dive in. I mean, what was your favorite part of the episode?
Ooh, that's a good question. What was my favorite part? If I had to put like a just one scene as my favorite part, I really enjoyed towards the end where the Ravagers and Thanos and everybody are in Wakanda, and the Thanos is kind of trying to justify genocide and embarrasses Nebula. I thought that was great.
I thought that was a really fun, like, running gag throughout the episode where he's
Yeah,
like, I still believe in my plan. I think this would have worked. It would have been efficient, is the word he keeps using. And
yeah.
everyone's like, Captain Genocide. And they
No,
kind
it's
of,
not genocide because it's random. You see.
so it's like they're kind of rolling with the punches on it. And yeah, I thought that was a really, really nice touch. I don't know if I have like a favorite per se. I think that final battle with the Collector was a lot of fun, where he's got all of the weapons of the MCU just collected. He's got Cap
hmm
shield, he's got Mjolnir, he's got Hela's
Yep.
crown, he's got Dark Elf's dagger, a few other things in there. That was a lot of fun, and yeah, this was a nice fun twist I think for the Collector, where he's just this. He fills in the blanks for Thanos, takes over as sort of the main bad guy in the universe, and well, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a good episode.
Yeah. Speaking of that scene in particular, if you want to just jump into it, I guess.
Yeah,
Do you want to do a few quick hits, or do you want to just jump in?
let's just jump in. Yeah, I think,
Let's
like I
just jump
said,
in.
we're
Well,
assuming you've
okay.
seen this, so
With the scene with Cap's shield, and he opens that case, he's got all these MCU memorabilia,
yeah.
so to speak. I was talking to some buds. What's your theory on how the Collector managed to get his hands on all this stuff? What I mean, it's hard to say exactly, what the one singular change in this universe led up to that, but like how what could have happened?
Honestly, I didn't have really any theories. I think the one that had me the most was Mjolnir, because
Hmm.
obviously you have to be worthy to wield Mjolnir. And we've only seen Thor, Cap, Hela, and Thanos ever hold. Not Thanos had Stormbreaker, but same concept, right? So I have no idea how Collector could even get his hands on Mjolnir, but I don't know how he would even know to get something like the Dark Elf's dagger. Like, how would he know to get that? I think really the only explanation is his name is the Collector. That leads
Hmm.
the belief that he does this. He just grabs things that he can, and yeah, I have no idea how he was able to get his hand. What about you? Do you have any theories?
Well, I see they did say since Thanos was such a big bad, and with him not being such a threat to the galaxy, that there's a power vacuum where other people can kind of move in, take over, and the Collector seemed to be one of those big threats. Specifically with Mjolnir, I don't see how he could have Mjolnir unless he got his hands on it before Odin's spell affected Mjolnir. Because
I guess that's true.
Odin's spell is what makes it so that someone has to be worthy of the power of Thor to wield it.
It's a good point. Although I guess if that's the case, there's not much importance to it then, right? Like, why would he want it if it's just this that
True.
you know what I mean? I don't know. I I didn't really think too much about how he got it. I just sort of understood that he's the Collector, that's his thing, and it was a fun little Easter egg to throw in there for him to have.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I think the Easter egg route is what they were going for anyway. But it's fun to come up
I
with theories.
Sure, yeah, I think so. You know what I kept waiting for in that scene was
What's that?
T'Challa to turn into Black Panther since he has the necklace.
Yeah.
Because you see him walking in the in the building in nowhere, whatever it is, and it glows, and that's when he's walking by the Wakanda ship. So it still works in some ways, and obviously he didn't go through the whole ritual to become Black Panther, but I didn't know if that mattered or not. I guess maybe it would.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when I saw it, all I could think of was like, I compared it to Peter Quill keeping his Walkman, right? Like it's his kind of his
Sure.
only earthly possession. Like that's all T'Challa would have had was his necklace,
Sure.
so he would have kept that. And then it was just a bonus that it got to interact with some Wakandan tech later on.
Sure, definitely. No, I definitely agree. That was a thing for him to keep that reminded him of home. I guess I
Mhm.
just was. It was like maybe he learned how to activate it on the ship or something, like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, that would have been cool. That would have
It
been a
would have
really
been a
cool thing.
it would have been a fun moment. It would have been a fun moment.
A
Um,
full-on Black Panther Star Lord.
yeah, yeah. Just like the first time doing it and being like, oh wow, look at this, and then that's kind of how he
Uh-huh.
saved the day. But it was cool to see Yondu come in and save the day with his little whistle arrow.
Yeah, it was a good Wandu episode, or yeah, Yondu episode.
I really like the change to the Ravagers where they're straight up good guys now. You've got Taserface and what's the other guy's name? Kraglin. And they're
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like straight up good guys. Thanos, straight up good guy. Just this group. I was anticipating the Guardians
yeah. Hmm.
coming into this, and obviously we saw Drax as a bartender, but he's not angry or bitter because Thanos never kills his family. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I kept expecting this to become the Guardians, and then that just never happened.
Yeah, I that's kind of what I figured would happen too. I thought we'd get everybody in the fold. I thought we'd see Gamora and Rocket and Groot and everything. But I mean, the Drax cameo was cool. The Yondu part I thought was really, it was nicely done. It was a little bit heartbreaking just to see Yondu kind of because in Guardians, spoilers for Guardians 2. I know we get into spoilers every time, but like he dies right when he goes through his big character change,
Yeah.
his big redemption arc. And we don't get to see him as a good guy for much of the Guardians in the MCU, but so it was cool to see him as a hero throughout this whole episode.
Definitely, yeah. It's funny because it just speaks on T'Challa and his character in itself that he comes
Hmm.
in and these guys go straight and they're just good guys. They just do the right
Hmm.
thing, and it's a fun. It speaks more on Quill, that what did he do that was it,
Yeah, well,
it's what was he just not good enough to turn the Ravagers, or was he shitty enough that they were like they got even worse?
well, I think that Peter Quill just experienced so much trauma so young that, like, in his upbringing, he was more, yeah, more of a closed off kid, more, just wanted to look out for himself. Whereas T'Challa's a born leader, and a
Yeah.
good person, and surrounded by so much good, that it affected everything in this Star-Lord's life.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I really like the different T'Challa we got here, because this was a T'Challa that didn't grow up in Wakanda expecting to become the king, and
Yeah.
wasn't around royalty. And this was he grew up as a Ravager, and so he's a lot more lighthearted, a lot more, quick to make jokes, and
Hmm.
a little bit more in line with what we would see Star-Lord, a nicer Peter Quill Star-Lord, right? Like
And what's really interesting is I think that this version of Star-Lord, T'Challa Star-Lord, is every bit as, like, cool and suave and skilled as Peter Quill wishes that his Star-Lord was.
Exactly. Yeah. It makes me a little sad, because I read a thing where Chadwick went to Kevin Feige and Ryan Coogler, the director for Black Panther 1 and 2, and said that he wanted to incorporate more of this style of T'Challa into the character for Black Panther 2. Of course, we won't get to see that. So
Mm,
this episode, more than anything, really made me appreciate and miss both Chadwick in general, but also T'Challa the character. And we've talked about it before on a few other episodes about what they're going to do with Black Panther, and I mean, obviously, we can't get what we actually want, but I would really love to see a T'Challa back in the MCU. Not necessarily a recast. If they could do a multiversal thing to bring a different version of him in, would be nice.
yeah, I don't know how you go about doing that and still honor the memory of Chadwick. It really sucks. I mean, obviously, it really sucks, but it's just his. T'Challa it was kind of in his infancy as a character,
Yeah,
in the MCU, and he could have grown, and now that we're kind of starting to talk about mutants in the MCU, T'Challa and Storm are such
yep.
a thing. That would have been so cool to see on screen, and I don't think that's going to be an option anymore.
I know. It's obviously, like, it more sucks that Chadwick is just gone, for him and his family and all that.
For
Um,
sure.
on a very selfish and smaller scale, and just in terms of the MCU. I mean, T'Challa being gone is a big empty void. And I mean, I don't think that anybody that you bring in to do a different version of T'Challa would ever quite compare. I think Chadwick was perfect as T'Challa, and
Yeah.
like you said, he was very much in his infancy. And you look at how he was from Civil War to Black Panther to Infinity War Endgame. Like, he definitely had grown each time a little bit. Um, and man, yeah, it's sad that he's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a great character. I mean, I love characters in Marvel who are just stubbornly good,
Yeah,
beyond, in the face of everything, all evil, characters like Spider-Man, Captain America, Black Panther, stuff like that. Just love them.
yeah. Not to break up our flow here, and
Yeah.
this, if you're listening, this isn't going to mean anything to you. But if you're on YouTube, Jack didn't change his background.
No. I'm so embarrassed. Don't look at the Bad Batch. That's so funny. Can I do it now on the fly while we're recording?
You might as well, if you
I'm
can. I
gonna
don't know.
I'm gonna try. Yeah, let's do it. Oh, I'm so embarrassed.
I was just sitting here like, oh my God, that's Wrecker. Like, oh crap. uh,
Oh, that's
oh,
so
that's
funny
funny.
though.
Let me run this theory by you, just to kind of bring it back to a little bit of a lighter note.
Yeah.
We mentioned that there was no Rocket, Groot, or Gamora in this. We got Drax. We got a little fun Peter Quill at the end. Obviously, we saw Yondu. There you go. We got a lot of the Guardians, but three of the main ones were not there.
Yeah.
There we do know that Gamora will have a what if where she is Thanos. So
Ooh,
what if, no pun intended,
what if?
that episode takes place in the same universe as this episode, and with Thanos being a good guy, Gamora steps up to become Thanos, and she has Rocket and Groot by her side instead of the Black Order.
I think that's a really good idea. I hope that that's the case. I would really love to see that, because I think that means that we'll get to see more of this universe's Nebula, which I think would be super cool. We know that in the MCU canon, Gamora is instrumental in changing Nebula, and I would like to see that the other way around. I think that'd be really cool.
Right, because I mean, we didn't touch on that yet, but Nebula is straight up just a, I don't want to say a good person, but not a villain, not as villainous as she was in the movies at first. And she's got blonde hair. I don't know if I really cared for the blonde hair. I didn't really think it made a lot of sense, but she had blonde hair. And
well, I don't even know if Nebula in the MCU has the ability to grow hair. I don't know how much of her head is head and how much of her is machine. You know what I mean?
Right. I think it was really more just a way to show that she's not a villain, and in this scenario, she's this beautiful woman and doesn't have any of these.
Yeah.
But she's still blue. She still has the eye. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think it was. This version of Nebula has the. She has the capacity to make herself, feel beautiful, whereas the MCU Nebula is just so hell-bent on destruction and anger, and it's two different characters.
For sure. So yeah, but I do think that in the scenario where Gamora is Thanos, having Nebula be the straight up, I guess we'll just say, hero, try to turn her, and that it would be a lot of fun, and it would make up for not having Rocket and Groot in here, because I think having Rocket and Groot in this would have been a lot of fun too.
Yeah, for sure. So do you think if we're following that what if, do you think that Gamora will be trying to capitalize on Thanos' plan?
I would think so. I feel like we saw a shot in one of the trailers where the first Avengers team up where they all are circled, and but they show that, but they show it with Gamora and Rocket and Groot. So I don't know if that's them going to Earth to take over, or if maybe they are heroes and they go in to stop.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see Rocket and Groot as evil Gamora's allies. That'd be an interesting story. I'm really excited for that one. I hadn't even thought of that being in the same universe as this one.
Yeah, and it maybe it's not, but it would at least make sense. It just feels weird that you had Thanos as a good guy. They showed Nebula, but they didn't do no mention, no shot, nothing of Gamora or Rocket and Groot. And since we're doing a Guardians what if, the fact that they weren't in there, it felt intentional, right? Not like they we forgot. Like it felt like we're saving this for something else.
Yeah, I agree. No, because it's such a big thing to leave out.
Yeah, I agree.
So
especially
I hope that you're right. I really hope that you're right. That's something that I hadn't considered. I think it would be really cool to explore that.
Absolutely.
I don't know if probably won't have Star-Lord in it, right? If it's same universe, it'd be T'Challa. Do you think they have any more lines? Like, do you think they'd be able to use this character?
I don't see why not. I mean, unless they just don't, because if that's the case and Gamora is, Thanos and evil, you would think that maybe they would bring Thanos back to interact with her, and if they do, it would only make sense that he's with T'Challa.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, that would be incredible. I would love if that was the case.
Yeah. So, well, here's to hoping, right?
Here's to hoping. We'll have to come back to that when we get the episode drops. So
shifting gears, like I don't know. I don't know if I have a whole lot to say about it, but I do want to point out that that we since we're kind of in a Guardians mood, we see a little bit of Howard the Duck, and we see a little bit of Cosmo. I love that they're keeping these characters kind of close to cameos as possible without, overstaying their welcome.
Absolutely. No, Howard was a fun spot. We knew we'd get him. We knew he'd pop up in there. And yeah, I think Seth Green returned to voice him too, so that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And the few little lines that he got, the quick speaking and the funny little, just snarky attitude.
Stop to hydrate.
Yeah, I thought that was a really fun way to. Yeah, a really fun way to add some humor into the show and just kind of tip the cap to that character. I'm a big Howard the Duck fan. Not the movie, but the character.
But the character.
Yeah.
as a cameo, he really works as a fun, silly, funny cameo.
Yeah, I think, and I would love if they just kind of kept doing that with him here and there. I mean, we saw the little shot of him in Endgame as they're all walking through the portals. He had the post-credit scene, I think, in Guardians 1 or 2. I think it was in 2.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I would love if they just kept kind of popping him up randomly. Just, maybe he's in Eternals or maybe he's in Ironheart. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun. I really want to talk about Quill, though. Quill and Ego at the end there.
Yeah. So and while they were doing that, which I don't think we've even really addressed the framing device where this is kind of being told by the Watcher, which I adore. But he has a line of, somewhere else in the universe this is happening, but that's a story for another time. Are we going to get an Ego, reuniting with Peter Quill as not Star-Lord in What If? I kind of doubt it, but that's almost what they made it seem like.
They almost implied it. I don't think that's this season. I think that they have kind of shown what we can expect. The Thanos, Gamora, the Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, a few other things, right? I don't think we're going to expect that this season, but we knew there's going to be a season 2 next year for this. So maybe they will explore that. I'd love if they did, because think about all of the differences that happen with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but what I'm thinking is it would probably still have to be in the same universe, right? So if we brought the Guardians back into the fold, would it then be? Then they're setting up for more T'Challa stuff, right? Because he's with Thanos, and I don't know how Drax would ever get into the fold, but I don't know. Maybe they just wouldn't have Guardians. Maybe it'd be a whole different story.
I think
it's so hard to speculate with this one.
I think it would be more up to the Avengers than
okay.
I don't know why they would get involved. Obviously they are back on Earth for Wakanda, but I think it's almost implied that he's going to leave again and just go on and be a Ravager. So given that that's a planet Earth problem, it feels like it would be up to the Avengers to stop. But you never know how different the Avengers could be in that universe. Maybe it is a Captain Carter it happens to be around for that, or who knows? Yeah, I think that there's a lot of ways they could tackle it, but I don't think it would be really up to the Guardians. I don't know why they would have to. I don't know,
because the Avengers are going to be weaponless. Remember?
Yeah, that's true. Just Cap and Thor.
Yeah, I guess that's true, but still, I think this is just Marvel being Marvel, where if this gains enough attention, they'll try something, and if not, whatever. It was just a little Easter eggy thing. But yeah, I'd be very interested to see a follow-up to this.
Yeah, it feels like that's kind of what I think. I agree. It sounds like they teased it, said, hey, we might do this, and if they do, great, because there's so many differences that you could explore there. And it's like, because that's how would you because you have to destroy the planet Ego to stop him from destroying because I don't even know how to explain what happened in Guardians 2, where it was like the ground was coming up, or what, you know what I mean? It was so.
Yeah, he was expanding. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously you have to destroy the planet. So that's very interesting. I kind of do hope that they explore that.
Yeah, I don't know. So, what else you got? I was looking over for my notebook. I don't have any notes on this one. What else you got?
Honestly, I think that we covered pretty much everything I wanted to.
Such a great episode.
I agree. I think that when you just kind of sit down and watch it, it's a completely new tale that's being told here. You get fun differences. Thanos being a good guy is a lot of fun. Chadwick's performance is great, and obviously makes you want more from Chadwick. Yondu is great. Nebula's great. I think that this was a really fun episode. If this is what we can expect for the rest of the show, I'm all in. This is great, and I'm a fan of What If so far.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Very, very clever, exciting, just an all-around great show so far.
Yeah, yeah. Right on. Well, hey, folks, thanks for sticking with us to the end. If you did, if you want to support the podcast, obviously the best way to do that is to share it with your friends. Let them know what we're doing over here. Feel free to give us some feedback. Our social media links are in the show notes below, so check those out. Make sure you give us a follow. Let us know what you thought of the episode, and let us know what you think about that theory of the Gamora Thanos episode perhaps taking place in this universe. So until next time, folks, keep on keeping on.
Yeah, we'll catch you later.